Greetings, Dan Halligan with Kayenta Games, and I'm glad to be back. I haven't done a playthrough in a while, mainly because as a one-horse operation, logistics in 2020 and 2021, absolute nightmare. They were tough always, but to be moving roughly 40,000 games over the two COVID years of 2020 and 2021, don't please ever let that happen to me again. That was a nightmare. Not to mention all the supply chain issues. The fact that Federal Express basically has no idea where they're going half the time with boxes or with their tracking, and they still happen to be the best when you look at the other options. I mean, it's a challenge. I didn't get into this business in order to deal with logistics. I wanted the fun stuff here, the games I have in development behind me, and I think 2022 is going to be different. So what do we have here? We have the long-anticipated playthrough against Tottenham, which is an expert standard play opponent for using the upstairs-downstairs servants with the base game solo mode. And that's going to be the base game AI as well, not the dynamic AI. Now, this Tottenham opponent comes in the useful box, or came in the useful box. And I'm going to mention a quick word about the useful box. It was a clever idea that was poorly implemented, and I apologize to those who didn't get one. They're never going to be reprinted. Panda donated the bags to that. The useful box was predominantly about me being mortified that the bags in that Kickstarter printing were so defective. It actually led in part to Stephanie on Board Game Geek, who I think is going to make a few more of these. She sent me one of these beautiful velvet bags she made. But I just couldn't sit there with bad bags, and once I had to have a box to contain the bags, I thought I would correct a few typos. Games of complexity will always have the occasional typo. I figured let's correct those. And then let's say thank you to those 2020 Kickstarter backers and pre-orderers from that campaign by giving them some new content. The problem is, by heavily subsidizing the useful box, everybody wanted one, and it was only $5, so everyone said, I'll get one, particularly when the new people in 2021 were ordering the useful box just because it was $5. Why not? So I created a problem, and I created the problem by attaching the correction to some new content. People said $5, new content, boom. So I didn't execute well. I want to say to anybody who missed out on a useful box, who has a defective bag, get a hold of me directly. My email is everywhere, but get a hold of me directly. I will figure that out. I will figure out a way to make sure that you're taken care of. Know this, that all the new content that was in the useful box is going to reappear via other instruments in the future. So it's not going away. You just may not have it as quickly as you would like. So I apologize for the bumps in the road with the useful box. The road to hell is paved with good intentions. But let's jump into the playthrough. Enough with the PSA. So what do we have here? I talked a little bit about the beautiful velvet bag, and I'm also going to use the iron clays here. The iron clays I backed because they had these denominations of 500 and 100, and I thought, man, that's beautiful. But I've never played with them because I was gifted two different metal coin options, which I think are more thematic. That was the Nanny Narking coins and the imitation gold sovereigns along with some pence. I prefer those, but I've never played with these, so I'm going to give them a try. I also found this orientation in a Facebook post from Carla Tate that showed the tiles going out this way. Now, I don't think I would play with this if I were playing with new players. I think having the player board and the landscape orientation is more important. But boy, if you have a table restriction here, and for me, a camera restriction, every playthrough I've ever done, I have tiles falling out of view here. To have them go this way, and I obviously can remove the family and these cards if I get a long run. Beautiful. I'm anxious to try it, see how it happens. Given that we're having a high power game with Tottenham, I expect to run out a few rows. So that is going to be used. I use a service intensive variant, so I draw out tiles from my bag, and I take the first three service tiles except for the servants' hall, and I put them in put them in the market. And then I populate the last 3 spaces with the normal qualifying tiles, and I happen to get another service tile. So I have my baby. Oh, it's my baby right there. But the thing's 700. It's going to be a stretch. So we got a little bit of a service-intensive play. I've done my draft. I took the Useful Man. I'm taking the Useful Man with Family Wessex. I always feel that money is the main thing that slows me down against a high-powered opponent. I'm very concerned about money early, and the Useful Man does allow me to get into that tennis court without worrying about reputation. Because there's a couple things I've noticed with this particular opponent, and that is they're weak in essentials and sporting. So I want to dominate them in those 2 categories. So me flipping these 2 right away is going to get me quickly to, I think, 5 points, which is going to comfortably put me ahead for the first 2 seasons. And then not flipping this, which saves me an actual action, is going to have me dominating them in the first 2 seasons on essentials. Really, from a beginning point of view, everybody's a chip shot except service. They got three there. This is an actual game I played, so that I probably got the barn, and I do have the barn there. But still, I don't want to see this in season 1. And I don't want to play this in probably season 1 either, because I like to leverage an American heiress if I can get one. Remember, I'm thinking about money. I do have a nice little money pull here, though, but I didn't get it with I didn't get much anyway with my starter guess, and I've got a gender disparity with the ladies. So I've got some interesting things, but my general thought process, not to do the village fair, to lock that down, and to flip this with some invites to see where I am standing with relates to money. So I either might lead here or I might lead here. And let's go ahead and get started. Quick note, I've got some synergy. I've got 2 cards that take the Cabinet of Curiosities. So I'm going to be chasing that bad boy. And at the very end, the last act of service for Family Wessex, this gentleman may go find me the Cabinet of Curiosities. So I have a way to really lock up some big points. That's a 17-point objective there. That's big time. So that's good. And then I've got a servant play, which you know how I love servants, so that interests me, along with a max reputation play. I'm feeling very good over here. So getting started, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start out with the main gazebo. And the main gazebo is going to allow me to get a look at what's functional here in the Prestige Guest deck. I'm going to pull my cards out of the way. And I'm going to lead with John and Catherine Wessex, the Viscount and Viscountess. I'm going to provide service here. And we are going to enjoy 200 pounds. And then we're going to look at an invite here with a screening action for Catherine, Lady Catherine. And holy smoke, I did not get an heiress, but I got something even more heiress-like. Thomas Fuller. And look who the other option is. Wow. Wow, wow. Is that too much? Maybe I should turn that off. I think that might be okay. I've got enough ambient light. There's some people who are going to scream at me. I'm going to take him. I know you're tearing your hair out because this is normally so good. Well, I have to decide before I draw that. I probably should have looked at that first. The order does matter. I am going to do this. Curse my name not. I'll put that at the bottom in a second. And then on this one, for the main gazebo favor, well, I got a little... Look at that. I would not have done that, taken Fuller over the young lady, if I knew I had that. See, pay attention to those little details. It's not the kind of mistakes you can make against Tottenham. So I'm going to be doing a little more surgical editing. You know, I really like how Before You Play edits their videos. They don't get into fancy transitions. They just whack out whatever they don't want. slam the two clips together and go for efficiency of presentation, which I've never been known for. So I'm going to try to do a little bit of that. With this 200, I think I want to grab this music room. And the reason I want to grab this music room is because with a barn lurking and 1 point here, I can be in play maybe for season 2 on the Tottenham service count. So that's something I want to keep an eye on. The riding stables come in. Now we're going to roll for the AI, and we have a 7. We look here, that is going to be position 2, and I lost that barn. That hurts. The West Saloon comes in. We go to round 2, rotate service, check the round track. We don't have any particular activity. So I'm going to shock all of you because I look at this money solution right here, which really is going to finance me for probably most of season 2. Also put me in a position to get any monument that shows. I'm going to pass. Again, you're screaming at me. The reason I'm going to pass is that I can flip this and get to 2 points. That's functional and potentially tying there, leading there, tied here, being in a good position with Tottenham. But the real reason I want to do it is because I want to hire on the pass. I want to get that cook, and I want to get immediately into both those prestige level 2 and 3 guests as a way to bring my money engine into play right there in the end of season 1. So I'm going to pass. That's the wrong one. Oops, let me upgrade that. This is the one I want that allows you, when you're using the upstairs, downstairs servants, to hire servants on a pass. And for my hiring on the pass, I'm going to hire the cook and the head housemaid. I'm going to get this housekeeper's room, if possible, with my money that I get off the village fair from my useful man next round, in order to get that a little bit extra help for the concentration of female guests that I have. Going to break this down. Going to roll the AI. 16. 16 is no purchase. That's great news. It leaves things in place. So we're moving on to round 3. We'll check our order of play, rotate service, and then check the round track, and we do see the village fair there. This is the time where we deploy the useful man. Even when the private study is not flipped, he has an ability to grant us 200 pounds. So I'm going to break this down into a 1-2 punch on this round and on round 5, because I don't have the cook's ability right now to invite that prestige guest with the 400-pound favor or Thomas Fuller. So I'm going to play the bowling green. Right now I'm going to be leading here. After I get the housekeeper's room, surprisingly enough, even though Tottenham has a 3 in service, I'll be tied with Tottenham in service. So that'll be leading, tied, and I will be trailing in those 2, unfortunately. So I'm going to play that bowling green now and get some additional invites. I want to go without passing for the rest of the game. That's generally my thinking right now. If I can get a lot of money and get a big stream of guests coming in, that's sort of an objective for me. Now, with this servant objective over here, I may want to hire again, and so I may pass more for this pressure than the pressure of needing guests. But let's see how we do. And then I'm going to come back in round 5 with the cook and my high-powered money guests, and then I got to start working on reputation in a hurry. So we are going to play the bowling green. Going to have Catherine Viscountess Wessex in the air. They do not require service. Footman here. We're going to take 100 pounds from the air because I don't want to have my reputation go up. And then 300 pounds from the bowling green. Let me return 200 clays and go into one of those 500s. It gives me 700. And then I have a look at 2, keep 1 invite from Catherine. And my money is going to be solid, And I'm going to have a housekeeper now, excuse me, a head housemaid. Now that's going to allow me to maybe screen one of those when I use him. And I want a lot of invites. So I'm going to go ahead and put that over there in the active hand. Discard pile over there. I'm going to gamble here and change my mind. I feel so strongly about my favorite tile, the servants' quarters. I'm going to take it and hope that the housekeeper's room survives. If the housekeeper's room doesn't survive, that's a better situation for me than the servants' quarters not surviving. So that's a 500 tile. Bring that down here. We are now tied for that courtship. Good news, another barn comes in. I'm okay, though, because I've acquired a number of tiles. But if I was sad about that barn leaving, I have another option. And the reserve is going to make those things affordable here shortly. A little time out here. I left this set up to come back this morning and do some more filming, and we had a catastrophe overnight. Let me emphasize the CAT of the catastrophe, as Duchess Lilo apparently threw a party on my game table and scattered everything. So I had to painstakingly reconstruct based upon the last images in Premiere Pro, where my video had left off. So if you find something out of place, you know why. This had come in the barn, and we were about to do our scavenge action at the end of round 3. We had a no purchase before, and when you have a no purchase with this AI, this is the original AI, you subtract 5 from the next roll. That would be anything from 16 to 20. The next time you roll, you subtract 5, and that's to make sure there's not consecutive rounds of inaction from the AI. We have 17, subtract 5, we get a 12. We go to our card, and we're going to take position 4, which is going to be the riding stables. Forgive me for the slop over there. And we'll slide these down. We come out with the billiards room, which is nice to see because I have a 17-point objective, and this is a key find. If I have the useful man eventually get the cabinet, then I just need to worry about the kennels coming. So that goes in there. I got to make sure that that guy Tottenham does not scavenge that. So now we move on to courtship. And for those a little bit new to things, I'm sorry about this shadow. That's the light coming in from the window. I'll see if I can fix that. But for those new to courtship, we don't do any activity. We're just evaluating courtship. Even if you had a monument or a servant's hall, no reputation from those. It's just evaluating courtship. And where do we stand? We lead here with 3 points. Here, surprisingly, we didn't want to see service to begin the courtships, but we've gone ahead and tied it here. It was quite unexpected that we were going to be able to catch this strong first season position by Tottenham. We're tied here, and we're trailing in those two. So now we're going to pivot from not wanting to see service to not wanting to see either prestige or sporting. And boom, we got the service. That shows you a little bit of the tactical pivot. I mean, my strategy was no service based upon the card. And I've always viewed, and I don't know if I've said this before, I think I have, strategy is when you have nothing to do, and tactics is when you have something to do. At the beginning of the game, before we did anything, I didn't want service. The game state changed, and we're okay with service. So that'll be season 1 there. There will be a card for us, and there will be a card for Tottenham. We can take a look at our card. And very nice, servant or 5 victory points, optional. I can put that guy there so you can see it. We'll decide what we want to do with that. And as you finish a courtship, there's 2 icons there which talk about 2 actions that you need to do. The first is we need to discard one of these. And I'm of the opinion to get rid of this objective card. And the reason is, if I'm going all out for this, that's 2 of my 3 objectives. I'm really feeling that I will make this. That right there is all superior. And then 2 monuments is a possibility. Higher upside there. So I'm going to go ahead and part ways with that. Throw it in my slop pile. The other thing you do in multiplayer is you would rotate the first player marker. We don't have the first player marker to be rotated as the solitaire player goes first. But we do have the service reserve beginning. And what the service reserve does is all service tiles go to the market reserve. And I need to pull out 2 tiles to populate there. 2 tiles I pulled are a brushing room and a parish church. This is really nice to see. That flips into a monument. And that may really help lock up. Plus you get a choice of money or reputation. This is one of the winning promotional tiles that ended up in the upstairs downstairs expansion. So this goes to the reserve because that came in. And I need another one here. And we have Holy Crapola. We have the second one. And now I'm at a real danger to losing one of these 2 for this particular objective. So I got to sort of recalibrate my thinking on what I'm going to buy next. Yikers. We're at round 5. We rotate our service. I do now have the servants' quarters, so I can pull one of those people from there. And I rotate that, and we do not have a monument or a servant's home. We don't have anything on the round track. So I get to hosting an activity. My plan had been to go into the tennis court to use the useful man to reduce that prestige rating temporarily by 1 in order to leverage the 2 big money people that I had. Well, I can't do that, can I? Because I need that footman there for the tennis court. Oh, crap. Look at this. I need a footman for him. I forgot almost all gentlemen guests get a valet, but this guy is beneath a valet apparently, and he gets a footman to maybe take care of his bags upstairs, and that's about it. So forgive me, I just decided I wanted to start coming in closer to the actual events I'm hosting. So I moved everything up, knocked a bunch of stuff over. But this will allow me to flash in so that we can see the activity being hosted, and I can put the cards right there. I felt that everything was too far away if I didn't routinely sort of flash in for a quick view. Where we were at was I've got a pivot here. The whole plan with Fuller was to early on take advantage of that massive amount of money and avoid that reputation penalty, which is just crippling. But due to change in circumstances and quite honestly a mistake with me on my footman count, I could go ahead and pull in a footman here. And that's something I considered, but it's going to be too late. If I'm still in season 2 trying to stay at no reputation to take advantage of him, I'm just not going to recover in time. So I need to pivot. I'll figure out if and when I use Fuller in another way. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go to the front parlor. And we're going to host the Comtesse de Vitry. I'm sure I butchered that French. And the young lady. We're going to use the head housemaid to screen her sole invite. We're going to have the cook who's going to enable a prestige rating of 3 to attend despite my reputation of 1. So we'll flash in so you can get a little better look at that activity. So what do we have is we have 400 pounds. Love the clays. Still think, I'll put that over there, still think that the metal coins are more thematic. We're going to pick up reputation here, 3 plus 1 for the cook. 4, almost a level 2, so we got off that idea. And we have an invite right here. It's going to be look at 2 and keep 1. And fascinating. Boy, good thing that I screened. I mean, I like the money from Sir Bentley, but Sarah Bonetta, no service, and look at that, man. Sorry, Cad, into the slop. We'll go ahead and break down. I was considering getting the smoking room, which would put us in a winning position as it relates to that courtship, but I can tie this courtship by getting the flower room, and I'm going to get that important prestige guest invite that I stupidly surrendered by throwing the lovely Miss Turner into the slop. So I'm going to get the flower room, 300 pounds. Drawing room comes in. We roll a 13. That is position 4. No, I really sort of had plans for that parish church. Gabled conservatory comes in. By the way, I want to acknowledge I made a mistake, and I know there were a couple of people that were cursing me. It would have been the Hillside Kennels, not the parish church, that would have gotten pulled, because when I filled those two spaces, it should have been Hillside Kennels and not parish church. I want to lose this less than the parish church, but I think it's unfair that such an important objective of mine remain in the market when I didn't sort it properly. So I got to put the parish church back. Sorry about that. The reason was it was interrupted by one of the tiles going to the reserve, and so I did them individually rather than look at the two tiles that ended up in the actual end of the market. On to round 8, we rotate service. We look at the round track. We do see that we're going to take 2 objective cards. And the 2 objective cards we're going to get is one I have already completed, which is all the female servants. That's a nice backup if I fall flat on my face as it relates to the objective with the sporting group. And then 1 victory point. That thing ain't going to survive per sporting. I mean, low ceiling there. So we're going to play the flower room. Sarah Bonetta really makes this play possible. Here, I'm going to use the servant's quarter to borrow the lady's maid. And so we have a nice reputation catch-up play in action. We're going to have 4 reputation here. And we're going to have a prestige guest. I am in love. I really am getting bailed out for my insane decision to send Miss Turner to the slop. So that's wonderful. Thank you, Regina, for coming to my estate. Break this down. Goes without saying that 300 is going into the bank in order to pick up the smoking room. We're in great shape because we are leading, we're tied, we're leading, and if I flip that as the last action of the next turn, we're leading there as well. So it is looking really good for courtship. Slide these down. Whoa, doggy. First monument makes an appearance. Now, of course, the AI is going to be after that with a vengeance. And here we go. 18, baby! Woo! No purchase. Now, I have to figure out a way with no money to get to 1,100. And there's only one way I can think that will happen. I'm getting ahead of myself. Rotate service. Check our round track. We have nothing going on. We don't have monument yet. Maybe we will get one, or a servants' hall. So we're on to hosting an activity. And there's only one way I can see getting to that number, and that is if I did this in the smoking room, I can actually lose 0 reputation if I use the cook to replace the 1 reputation that's not going to be acquired there. So let us go to the smoking room. Butler comes from here. Footman, because of the servants' quarter, comes here. There. Get your bags carried upstairs, Fuller. We're going to use her just for her reputation. Voila! We have gone with no reputation change. Getting ahead of myself. Money, 1,100. I'm just going to leave. No, I'm not going to leave it because I like to hold iron clays when they get to the big denominations. And then I pick up 4 reputation. I lose 4 reputation. That does not change. We have effectively used the good Mr. Fuller without pain. I'm going to flip that, go to a leadership position. Now, I only sacrifice a leadership position there, but I think that was well worth it. Put that 1,100 right back, and we acquire ourselves a monument, good sir. I think we'll open a bottle. And I'm going to put that there to remind me to take my monument reputation. And notice, we are going to dominate essentials throughout. I am tickled pink. Now we're coming back with a scavenge. Well, before we scavenge, let's grab something from the bag, and let's put out a croquet lawn here. And then we're going to scavenge, get a 4. It's going to gobble up that West Saloon. Happily toss the West Saloon in the slop, given some of the other juicy stuff in the market, which, to say it again, here I talk about moving everything so I can flash in, and then I don't flash in. But I'm going to come up here and just let you see the market. There is a lot of good stuff, a nice balance. Let's go back to the bag, and let's get a billiards room. So that's going to stack, and look how cheap that billiards room. Flash back out here. We're going to grab something for that open position. We have the Ornamental Hermitage, which flips over into the Hermitage Folly. Gives a reputation like a monument. Very interesting. And that does say monument, which means that would qualify for 3 victory points if I were to keep that particular monument. Scoot, Duchess Lilo. Stop trying to jump up here. No, don't jump up here. And let's scavenge. Now, the AI does not scavenge, not you, Tito. I get cats circling me like sharks. I think they want something to eat. 14, the AI does not scavenge like that's a monument because it's not showing as a monument in the market. Those are hybrid monuments, if you will. And ho, Tito, come here. Down you go. Don't jump up. And that is a scavenge of position 5, croquet lawn. That's okay. Go to the slop. And we're going to go ahead and grab another one. I'm supposed to be editing this stuff and give you, oh, jeez. Manor Gargoyles. The second of potentially 3 monuments that qualify. That would be bad because I'm playing with the variant where Tottenham keeps the monuments. But we do have courtship. I'm going to move around here and try to flash in a little bit. So let's go to courtship. The second courtship is going to be, we've already looked that we're ahead or tied in every area but sporting. And essentials. There's a snooze and a snack. Even if I hadn't gotten that imported marble floor, my play with the private study, which I've heard a lot of people talk about, man, you never don't play the private study. There is a time when you don't play the private study, and that's in this type of situation in solo, and it can be situational multiplayer. I'm losing some focus and screwing things up. So I'm going to go ahead and grab her. Let me flash out. Come over here. I think I've accomplished what I want there. We're going to grab her. Now, there's some of you who say that he should be stronger, and I very nicely and very respectfully say, go jump in a stocked lake, because the British literature is clear. The judgment of British literature in the 19th century is that she is the focus of our attention and our affections in the storytelling that is the game, not him. No, he's still situationally valuable because he will trigger the young ladies. Oh, you know what? I never took my young ladies. That's too late. Remember, my young ladies got the music room. I think that's my first mistake, besides that little market screw up. But that would actually be 6 reputation, and I've got to keep that in mind. If I win the season 3 courtship, I might go with him and the young lady for 6 reputation. Anyway, we're going to take her. We're going to discard an objective card, slop for the sporting one. We don't rotate that first player marker because we're playing solo, but we have a prestige rating 1 tile reserve. There's no prestige rating 1 tiles, so there's nothing that triggers. And we're on to the village fair. Let's rotate service. Let's look at the round track. Yes, it's a village fair. We're going to deploy our useful man to the village fair to pick up 200 pounds. We have a monument. We're going to pick up a reputation. Boy, I'd really like that one I missed from the young lady. Do your accounting better. I think we're going to do the obvious, go to a tennis court. But I want to emphasize something here. I've had a nice path development so far, but I have not looked ahead of where I am now. So I've got to get, obviously, I've got some great stuff up here. I've got 1-2 prestige rating 4 and 1-2 prestige rating 3. Actually, the Hermitage is also 4. I don't know that I even really want the marble gargoyles, because if I get the marble gargoyles, yes, that's wonderful. I have no path. I'm going to be replaying a tile, which just makes me grind my teeth. So going to the tennis court, slide over there, useful man. Don't get too familiar with the lovely Miss Elizabeth. Flash in, genius. Look at that. It's still on. Slide that up. Okay. And we're going to go to the servants' quarters here. Now, I would have brought along the lovely Regina with her prestige guest invite, but I can't take 2 out of there, and I just don't have enough reputation to sacrifice to refresh that servant, even though it would be one would come back. Do I want to do that? No, I'm going to use her next turn. So we have that. We have for one of his 2 invites, I think, over her invite, because I would happily take a high-level guest, which is the main reason you screen a prestige invite, is to get an appropriate prestige guest for what you want to play. And then I've got that. So we've got a nice, fun little event. Miss Elizabeth playing some lawn tennis with Thomas Handel. And let us go enjoy our favors. We have 300. And we have 1-2 reputation, which puts us comfortably to 3. We have, okay, now don't make your mistake. Let's invite here first. Oh my gosh, probably the worst prestige guest you can play. You can get. Ugh. Then we're going to look at 2 and keep 1. Interesting. You know, I got to get my glasses. Sorry about this. I'm going to flash out. The focus holds better. So we have the Reverend Ross Carn. The beloved Reverend Carn has served the family for decades, and his eloquent sermons are legendary. Family can come back into the active hand, which is absolutely brilliant. Wow. Sorry, don't mean to have the reflection on there. And then her. So Miss Atwood to the slop, taking Ross Carn, and then the second unscreened invite. Very nice indeed, a victory point. Winston Napier Esquire, I think now the second card I ever created, and actually changed his portrait in the second edition. Okay, let's go ahead and break down. For those of you who are unfamiliar with Upstairs Downstairs, here you get a feel of the kind of service that can be involved in a single activity, and it can actually get much larger than that. It really expands the options within that staff. So I'll pop back out there. And a purchase. We need a path. I could do the drawing room. I have the 500. That parish church is awful nice with that kind of reputation, but I do have essentials locked up tight. But what is the bank? Let's see here. I could get money or reputation going forward. It would count as a monument toward that objective. But the billiards room, but then the kennel might not come out, and I don't even have the cabinet of curiosities, which takes those 2 out and really makes maybe the monument thing max reputation, and those servants. Not sure. I mean, that 17-point objective has me salivating, but I only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 purchases left. That's if I purchase every turn. And I would have to have 3 of those devoted to that objective. Pivot time. Here we are pivoting again. I'm going to go ahead and take the parish church. A little bit dangerous, but I think that's going to get me to 6 on the monument. And who knows, maybe maybe that gets ignored down here for an extended period of time. So I'm doing the parish church, and I can actually play that next turn with one male guest, and I could use the... I never run into that before. I could establish a living for an existing Reverend Karn. Maybe I'm swiping him from a nearby estate. That's so cool. Aha. I'm not even doing the stories with this because we don't have all day. But let's go ahead and slide down. Music rune comes out. Boy, there's quite a concentration of prestige here. That's good. Because we got to get to 16 points if we're going to win that one. We've been a little lucky here, I have to admit. Let's do a scavenge. Just as a reference, when we're in a monument turn right here, 1 to 7 is going to take away that Manor Gargoyle monument. And it is a 12, which is position 2. I really hate to lose that drawing room. But I got other prestige stuff here, and it does cheapen. Did I pay? I did not pay for that. Where was that thing? If I'm wrong, I'll find out in the video and do a mea culpa. And now comes a Heritage Guest Suite, and we move on to round 10. Let's rotate our service. We get our reputation. Nothing on the round track. And here it is. This is too great. We are going to play the parish church. No service whatsoever is required. Parish church or here. We're going to establish a living for Reverend Karn. And we get to pull all 4 of the family back into hand, which gives me 8 cards. Maybe I won't pass. We'll have to see. And I get 4 reputation. 1, 2, 3, 4. And let's serve a meal for the celebration of Reverend Karn being brought on to the Wessex estate. So we'll get 1 more there. That is cool. I have never done that before. And then I like to thematically play that when I flip this to the parsonage, I actually take him out of my hand and he becomes the Reverend of our in our parish church. Good. We've established a living. Great turn. Very little expenditure of servants, and we picked up 4 gentry cards to play. We don't. Oh, I did not pay for Reverend Karn the $100 towards the £100 toward the living. So I forgot to flip that, and that is a level 4, level 4.3. I'm back fresh. I was filming for a stretch, and it seems like the longer I film, the more I make mistakes. So maybe I ought to chop it up a little bit. Anyway, we're going on to the Builder's Holiday. And the Builder's Holiday, hold on, I have to give you an amusement. I don't know if you've met this one. Say hi, Kiki. That's Duchess Lilo's adopted sister. A rescue. Anyway, sorry for that diversion. We all know about the ability of a box to catch a cat. So we're on to the Builder's Holiday, and boy, am I positioned well with it with absolutely 0 funds. Not the best prep, but I have a plan, and it involves what I dread to do, which is replaying a tile. So let's do our normal flow. We're going to rotate service. The advantage of that parsonage is that I'm fully stocked with service, and she's available, so I have all my servants available. There's the Builder's Holiday going on the round track. I do have my monument as well, so let me take one there. We're going to have to replay the tennis court in order to be productive on that Builder's Holiday. We have a lawn tennis match between John Viscount Wessex and the Honorable Regina Washburn. And here we have our cook is going to prepare a meal. One thing I'd like to point out, it's not like the cook is cooking a meal during lawn tennis. Transportation and visits in and around the rural part of 19th century Britain. People just didn't come by for a 2-hour visit. It took some time to get there, usually, depending on where the person was coming from. And as a result, people stayed for usually an extended period of time. So the cook is being deployed over the course of the visit of the Honorable Regina Washburn, and that's why there's some reputation that's being enjoyed from that particular favor being coming from the cook. We have 600 pounds, 1 reputation plus a reputation from the cook, which gets us to 5, and a screened invite. We have the, it's that darn light, but it's later in the day, so I got to leave it on. Lady Alexandra Suffolk and Richard, Duke of Longford. You might say automatically go for this, but I'm wondering, here I am again, making a judgment call, not feeling really strong about it. Victory point card and 600 or the prestige guest invite. Got to go with the Duke. Throwing her in the slop, boy, that's something. We'll flash out. We're going to go ahead and break down. And we have 600 to spend. I'm going to get the billiards room. It's a little disappointing that I don't have something for the national holidays. Sometimes in a game, I often very early, when something's affordable that's got a high player count and a high prestige rating, I'll grab it and let it sit and percolate, marinate until the national holiday. It's a good thing to have in your back pocket, which I do not have. But we do have the billiards room, which is 300. But I'm also on the Builder's Holiday going to shop for a little victory points, and I'm going to grab, can I grab all 3 of these? Let's see. So we got 600, we got 300 left. That's 300. That's 300. That's 100. So bringing them to the purchase, I'll put him over there. So that affords the brushing room. So then the question is it worth 2 victory points to go ahead and trade away reputation for the barn? I think not. I have the added advantage that this is an alternative valet and she's an alternative lady's maid if I can somehow engineer a big event. And we did not take anything out of the market in order to refill it. Had another cat issue. It was not a party happening on the table, but an actual chase that came straight across the top of the table while I was filming. Twice I've reconstructed the crime scene based upon video evidence in order to continue filming. But I was absent-minded about a couple things. I realized as I was reconstructing, I only have 1 victory point card, and I won both those courtships, so I am owed 1 of these. And there we go. That's a refresh action or 4 victory points. Put that there. Secondly, I just did the reuse of the tennis court. Very nice little turn. But when I took my reputation for my monument, I took 1 and I ignored the fact that I had flipped the parsonage at the end of the previous turn. So I have a choice of 100 pounds or 1 reputation. I think I'm going to take 100 pounds. So there's a couple absent-minded corrections. That had left us off at the scavenge action for the end of the Builder's Holiday turn. Whoa! 20. That's a refresh. I'm trying to think if it's good. We didn't give up the monument to Tottenham, who I don't want to augment that horrific 193 score, which I think I'm going to miss by a mile. I don't. So that's good, but that's not a bad market. I guess let's see what we get. Put that over here so I don't forget. Subtract -5 next time. That was the most insane market refresh I've ever done. It took 15 tiles to refresh this market. 4 came in prestige rating 1. 3 service tiles came in. And then duplicates of the cricket field, which is not something I can use, or the West Terrace, not something I can use. And interestingly, I think I want to show anybody who's newer to the game, I want to show you how the tile sorting works, because right here we have tiles that match and we want to see what the difference is. So there you can see 75. Wow, gosh, why don't I bring my, hold on, got to get my glasses. So we have 75 and 80. So that's how we sort the difference between those two tiles. And then we have 120, 125, 135, and 147. So that's a little interesting example of the tile sorting system in action when you get those conflicts. But can you believe that way? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 15 tiles to restock that market, and it's 90% garbage for the purposes of my life. Although the Hillside Kennels comes back into play, which brings this back into play, which I'll be honest, I don't think I can win the game without a 17-point pop right here, maybe get as much as 30 or 28 to 30 points on my objective cards. Because I will tell you, when I'm playing a game like this, I've got a little bit of an idea of where I'm going to get value. So I hope to get 100 points from the first two. Maybe 50 from the tableau, 15 from the gentry, and I'm hurting there. And then I'm going to get 28 if I get to max. And I'd like to get, another, say, 28, so like another 56, so I'm at 156. I'm going to probably get between 14 and 18 for servants, depending on things. I think I'm a little light. So say 14, maybe get to 20 there. So 176, and then some victory point cards. I mean, I'm in the ballpark, but I'm on the edge of a knife. So let's go ahead and move on to courtship. And just to give a quick look at this very important courtship, we are leading 15 to 8 there, 5 to 3 there, losing by just a little bit, 20 to 5 on estate. We're losing, we're tied 6 to 6 in prestige. And disappointingly, because remember, strategy and tactics. My strategy was to dominate sporting, and I'm trailing 6 to 4 because I haven't flipped that billiards room, excuse me. So we're not in a bad situation. Let's see what we have. Oh, I'm living right. I've gotten every break. Of course, if that estate comes up at the end, the breaks will break. But I've gotten every break so far. So take her out, and I'm going to keep her and put her back in. I need prestige invites. I got to get that total prestige, total guest victory point count up. So I'm going to get a victory point card. An invite of a prestige guest. That's interesting. Put that there so you can see it. And we need to discard an objective card, which is going to be this, no question, because I have 6 here. I have hopefully 17 and 7. I don't even need to go with that, but all options are better than the 4 there. So into the slop, no reserve or anything. We're going to move on to round 13, and you're wondering what I'm going to do. Now, I still have a number of gentry cards in my hand. I could have actually gotten away with that plan of not passing. But if I don't pass, I'm going to lose badly, because the options in the hand are all family and first level guests. There's a second, maybe, and one other one. But the point is, if I don't pass, I'm conceding victory to the prideful accomplishment of passing on round 2 and never passing again. I am going to pass. I need to pass. And obviously the Hillside Kennels needs to come into my hand and then use the useful man. But the problem is, if I buy the Hillside Kennels now, I have nothing to play for a good number of gentry that I've just passed to accomplish. So I've got to go to the rather pathetic national holiday play of a North Dining Room, which I will be able to acquire by passing, getting my 200, and taking my 100 from the parsonage. That's nice. So we're going to refresh our service. We are going to reclaim our deck. So I have my monuments, and I take a point of reputation for the floor, and I take 100 pounds for the parsonage, and then I am going to not hire servants. I'm going to collect 200 for my passing action, and then I'm going to shop by taking that 400, putting it back, and grabbing the north dining room, which will allow 5 gentry. Going to slide this down, and we have the scavenging action. 12 minus 5 is 7. 7 is going to be position 2. Oh my God, I wasn't even paying attention with a minus 5 for the hillside kennels. Out comes the summer house, a promotional tile. We move on to our national holiday. We don't need to rotate service as we passed last turn. We do take a point of reputation for here, and I think I'm going to take a point of reputation for there as well. The 100 pounds is worth 2 reputation and a special action. I'm going to take the 100 pounds. Do that. North dining. So I was looking at this as a option here to improve the quality of my north dining room invites. Right now I'm just not happy with what I got. So I'm going to gamble, and I'm going to throw that in the slop, and I'm going to grab, well, that's 100 pounds for only 3 victory points. But I guess the prestige invite is good. So I can't really flash in normally, so I got to pick up the stand here and sort of focus. So here's what I've gotten to. So I am inviting John Lord Brooke. I have to get rid of him with minus 4 victory points, so that she's coming. And I've got her, and I've got Regina, and then I've got the Duke. So this is a pretty good event. Let me go ahead and set this down and flash back out. So what do we have? We have 700 pounds. We have 1, 2, 3 reputation. We have, I'm going to be using her dismissal action for Fuller into the slop. Get in the slop. And then I have 1, 2, 3 prestige guest invites. Come on, baby. Come on. I've been living right. Please help me keep living right. That's living right. That's living right. Oh, my word. Am I living right? So that's picking up 14 victory points. Maybe something I can use in the Cabinet of Curiosities. We're going to have to see. And I get a victory point card. 4 or 300 pounds. Oh, I forgot the reputation for here, for the cook. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the useful man, and he's going to use his special action. I'm going to throw him into the slop. Get in the slop. And went and located the Cabinet of Curiosities, which is going to come in here. That's going to be the last play of the game. And so now I have 800 to spend, and I am going to give up 200 pounds to go back to 5 so that I get an additional 100 pounds. That's 900 for the stateroom, and the stateroom will come in here. Oh, I've got to get the hillside kennels. I'm going to have to hold off. I'm sorry. I'm going to have to hold off. Let me give that back. Go back to 6. And I'm going to take my 800 back, and I'm actually going to take 500, put 300 in it. You guys, oh my word. You do one of these filming sessions, you get toward the end, and you just get a little bit cross-eyed. Obviously, I've got to take the hillside kennels, as that right there, even though I haven't flipped either one of those things, represents 17 victory points. You were screaming at the top of your voice. We'll slide this down. Oh, the worst thing I could imagine to see, which is the trophy room coming out and a subtracting of 5, a 20 to 15. Positions, oh my Lord in heaven. I thought I had saved them, not, oh, wait. Oh my gosh, I was looking at position 6 on a standard turn, but it's a monument turn, which means at a 15 they get position 4, which is that stateroom, which I really wanted. But hey, what am I going to, they're not getting the stateroom to count. So I lucked out there, but they still got a chance to scavenge that next turn if I don't get it. Holy Lord. I'll tell you what, I'm probably going to lose this, which is a brushing room. I'm probably going to lose this tennis court, which will be really embarrassing because courtship has gone my way and the market's gone my way for the most part. So we are done with national holiday. Did I forget anything? I've got everything looks pretty good. So let's go ahead and go to the last round of the game. We're going to rotate service. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to use this victory point card to refresh my service because I can't do a good cabinet of curiosities. And I've got some good guests without doing that. Take that, go there. We have Mary, Countess Coventry. The beloved Countess is wife to the enormously influential Earl Coventry. And Albert, Marquess of Thornhill, the elderly Marquess, is close friends with Alice, Dowager Countess Holt, a Derbyshire resident. Ha ha ha. Check this out. 8 and 6 is 14 reputation. Now look, 14 reputation, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It means 6 reputation's not going to get used, so I'm going to spend that now. 100, 200, 300. So that's down to 5. And then here. And then we're going to go 14. So that's 5. That's 10. 11, 12, 13, 14. Do I want to spend for money? I think I do. So 2. So I'll spend that for the 200 pounds more, which is 1 victory point, so better stick in the eye. And, oh, and I forgot her, so that'll give me a little buffer, just like, because I'm paranoid, I might like fall off the cliff. And I get 2 victory point cards, which I've given away a lot of victory point cards. Very nice. And I'm going to purchase for 800 the big game trophy room. And we have reached the end. Whoops, I had not moved that up there. I'm sorry. Oh, you know what I didn't do? I didn't take my reputation and my 100 pounds. So I'm going to go back 2 more and take 200 pounds. This gives me 2 victory points, better than a stick in the eye. I got excited. I get excited by playing the cabinet because I could see that it was going to be a work of art. That's put away, and now we do the big reveal. So wait, let's take a look. Well, it's everything. I dominated. Do I have 7, 11? I actually am losing both middle ones. But if it comes up prestige, I'm okay. If it comes up here, I'm not, because there's a 15-point gap between me at 5 and 20. It's the only thing I think we have this game comfortably won. I don't want to say comfortably won, unless this is an estate. Oh, fuck. Gotta be kidding me. I guess the fates have come home to roost. Let's tally this thing up. Well, there it is. I came over to my computer because my brain was slowly degenerating. I love doing those playthroughs, but my ADD, walking and chewing gum, I just keep missing things as time goes on. I really admire some of the pros who just don't miss anything. I mean, I think of like before you play, very rarely do they miss anything. That is not the case for me. But one thing I know is that my misses and my cheats are entertaining. But I did lose the game 209 to 187. You see, however, that last flip of the estate courtship cost me the game because if I take the 8 points for the Fairchild and that 4 point victory card that Tottenham got, reverse that, if any other of the categories had hit, I would have won 199 to 197. I think I sealed my fate with that abortive take of Fuller early on, and my hope really the problem is I had an American heiress play in my head, but that American heiress is a prestige rating of 1, so I don't have to worry about how do I get to the level 2 and then give up 4 points. It doesn't work the same way, and so the solution was to stay at level 1 and to get the cook. But by the time you went and did the hire and the pass, you gave up on Miss Turner's prestige invite early, and the deck was loaded with good prestige guests. I made a few missteps, but hopefully you got to see a high-level game between yours truly and Tottenham. The victory goes to Tottenham. Thanks for watching.